In tropical rainforests, a war has been raging for millions of years. A war between ant colonies and the different types of fungi that infect them. It's a battle that has led to an arms race of evolution.
Oh, hell
Can we
no.
stop?
Creating one of the most sinister methods of survival ever discovered.
And what is that?
Parasites in general
I hate
need
parasites.
a host animal to reproduce and survive.
Parasites are the scariest things on
And
this
ants are a
earth.
tempting host animal for parasites indeed. Up to 70% of the individual insects in a rainforest are ants. In theory, this should provide a large pool of potential victims for infectious and parasitic types of fungus.
Wait, what?
Thus, just like our megacities, ants face a huge risk of disease outbreaks that can potentially wipe out an entire colony. Therefore, ants put up formidable defenses against such invasions.
What?
They work together to groom each other clean of pathogens. And if
See, why can't we do that as humans? Why can't we groom each other? Not in that way. Like, we clean each other every time we meet each other. Every time we come in contact with each other. Why don't we just touch each other? Like, clean each other, bro? Because we aren't compy. Let's work together? Yeah, chat. Debaja, you're right. We should work together. Next time I see you, I'm gonna give you a scale and a MyFitnessPal subscription, buddy. So you can start tracking your calories.
one of their comrades does get infected, it is exiled from the colony. And if a ant is discovered by its peers, it is quickly removed, then dumped far away from the colony before the disease can spread. This
But what that day he just slumped? What if he got like the itis?
is all a sometimes ruthless but effective way to keep diseases at bay. But in the spinning wheel of evolution, defenses like this can be outmaneuvered and overcome. And one type of fungus has done this in an almost unimaginable way. To see evidence of this strategy,
Chat, imagine a fungus that can control humans, like it will make humans walk.
you'd need to venture deep into the rainforest in a place like Thailand. Then you'd
Would be the first country to have that.
need to lean down and look for leaves that sit just
India or China? Why India? Because India is nasty. Biggest population. They ain't start COVID. India or Brazil, not gonna lie.
above the forest floor. And here, on the underside of a leaf, you just might find an example
What's in the... Yo, chat. This shit could get real wicked, bro. That is disgusting.
of a real-life zombie. An ant with its mandibles grasped tightly on the leaf's central vein, devoid of its own life, and instead hosting the life of a strange, protruding fungus that is reproducing and spreading its spores. Days or even weeks of mind control have led to this moment, the fungus working as the puppeteer, the ant the unfortunate victim. This type of mind control is very precise and very insidious. And while we might hope it's isolated to ants on the forest floor, parasites of all kinds are exceptional at altering the behavior of their hosts to increase the chances of transmission. Zombies, in a sense, are all around us. How is such parasitic mind control possible? And how scared do we need to be that parasites might take over our own minds?
I'm too compy for that.
The ant species Camponotus leonardi, a type of carpenter ant, lives in the high canopy of the rainforest and builds an extensive network of aerial trails. They would happily stay up in the treetops' relative safety, but sometimes their aerial network is imperfect. If gaps between the leaves are too large to cross, the ants are forced to descend to the forest floor.
Oh, that's tough.
And here is where the zombie fungus strikes. The fungus, Cordyceps unilateralis, is a highly special
Bro, why you gotta name it all like this crazy? Why can't you just name it like fungus threpi? Why gotta be unilateral OPIs parasitalitis? God damn, nigga.
specialized infectious fungus. When an ant stumbles across one of its spores, the spore attaches to its exoskeleton and eventually breaks through using mechanical pressure and enzymes. And at this point, the fungus starts to take over. Over the course of the next week, infected ants appear perfectly normal and go about their business undetected by the rest of the colony. Then, once the fungus has developed enough inside the ant, It compels the ant to leave the safety of its nest, travel down to the forest floor, and climb
Would
a
you
small...
fuck it, Rage?
But I fuck what? Bro, you see that nigga just crawl into the body? You gotta kill that nigga. Hey, that nigga got that shit! Go to the flow, nigga! Why you go to the flow? And you gotta start communicating with that nigga, bro. You know what I'm saying? Ask him why he going to the flow, nigga. Ask that ant why he going to the flow. He on up timing. Obviously, he got infected.
What?
I know y'all skin itching and crawling, chat. Let me scratch it for you.
Plant stem a few centimeters off the ground. Here, the ant permanently clamps its jaws around a leaf and is completely overtaken by the fungus. Where the ant carries out its death grip is remarkably precise. In one study, every infected ant chomped down on the underside of a leaf, and 98% bit down on the leaf's vein. Almost all of them did this on the north side of the plant, on a leaf exactly 25 centimeters above the ground. The chosen leaves were in an environment with 94 to 95% humidity, and all ended up in a location with temperatures between 20 and 30 degrees Celsius. It is no coincidence that every one of these factors
Ugly ass nigga
is the optimal condition for the Cordyceps fungus to grow. The zombie ant has transported it to its exact preferred location, meaning the control the fungus exerts over the ant is astoundingly precise. And at this precise location, a long fungus stalk eventually bursts through the ant's head, with a bulbous capsule full of spores on the end, and the ant is killed. And because the ant typically clamps down on a leaf in its own colony's territory...
You gotta hop on Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader one day. We need to test that Florida education.
Nigga, I don't remember none of that shit from school, nigga. I ain't gonna count.
The fungal spores rain down onto other ants...
That's crazy, nigga.
Low, zombifying any it touches.
Imagine you on top of a motherfucking apartment building and you just pissing on the floor, and any speck of piss that laid on a nigga, now they infected. And it's GG's. Good peaks.
The first zombie ant was documented over 100 years ago. But until recently, scientists had no idea how the Cordyceps fungus could control the ant so precisely. And while there are still many questions, recent research using machine learning is getting us closer to an answer. To get to the bottom of the mind control mystery, scientists wanted to know what part of the ant's body the fungus infects. Surely, they thought, the fungus's mind control ability would be focused inside the ant's head. So they worked to identify any parts of the ant where the fungus was present. And to their surprise, they found fungal cells not just in the ant's head, but also in the thorax and gaster. And intriguingly, they also found fungal cells in abundance inside the legs. Next, they wanted to see how much of the fungus infects the brain of the ant. Using a laser scanning microscope, they examined the nervous tissue in the head of infected ants and found something profoundly unexpected. The fungus doesn't touch the ant's brain at all.
What?
Fungal cells were concentrated directly outside the brain, but none were observed inside the brain.
What?
How can the fungus control the ant's mind if its actual mind is untouched? Next, they looked closer at the fungus growing in the rest of the ant's body. Here, they found fungal cells present between the muscle fibers in both the head and leg regions. To quantify the amount of fungus in each sequential image scan, they used a deep learning algorithm that could quickly identify fungal cells from ant tissue that could then build a 3D model. Doing this by hand would have taken months,
You've seen that video
but instead
on Twitter
they got
of
the
that
result
nigga
in
who threw
days.
his bitch off the
Scientists
23rd
could
floor
then start
cause
to
she was
see
cheating and her body collapse.
Wait, send me that video.
the hyphal bodies, the yeast-like circular fungal cells, were connected to other hyphal bodies by short tubes, and that some of these hyphae invade the ant's muscles, penetrating the cell membranes and growing inside.
That's not funny.
Elsewhere in the fungal world, fungal tubes like this are known to allow for the transfer of chemicals, nutrients, and information. So these connections, the tubes, the penetrating fibers, point to an intricate network inside the ant's body, connecting the fungal cells to each other and to the ant's muscles. All of this suggests that the fungus isn't using mind control to transport itself where it needs to go, but rather muscle control in a full body takeover.
I ain't gonna lie, nigga like me, just arms aren't moving. I'm controlling my shit, nigga.
The ant's mind may, in fact, be completely unaffected, meaning it's trapped as a prisoner in its own.
There better be some strong ass fucking fungus trying to control my shit, cause I be in the gym, nigga. Fuck you, time out.
Body, with the fungus in control. Exactly what chemical signals the fungus sends to the ant muscles to cause it to do its bidding is still unknown, however. Scientists are working hard to uncover this last mystery of the ant zombie phenomenon. But how common is this type of situation? Is it only ants that get zombified? How worried do we need to be that The Last of Us may not be just science fiction, but a premonition? Ants may be the most common host for the Cordyceps fungus, but they are by no means the only ones. It infects plenty of other insects and spiders, like tarantulas or beetles, leading to a similar spectacular death. However, the Cordyceps fungus does not have the zombifying ability in these other organisms, only the ants.
They're not pussy.
And while this might make you want to breathe a sigh of relief, the Cordyceps fungus is far from the only parasite capable of controlling the behavior of its host.
What?
In fact, there are dozens of examples of parasitic mind control in the animal kingdom. The Leucochloridium is a parasitic worm that invades a snail's eye stalks, where it pulsates in a mesmerizing way to imitate a caterpillar. The worm then mind controls the snail out into the open to tempt hungry birds to eat its eye stalks. Once inside the bird, the worm is able to reproduce, and then release its eggs in the bird's droppings, which then get eaten up by more snails, and the parasite's life cycle is complete. Then there's the emerald cockroach wasp, that attacks cockroaches with venom that blocks a neurotransmitter that allows the cockroach to control its own movements. The wasp can then lead the walking zombie roach into the wasp's nest, where it will act as a host and a food source for the wasp's larvae. All of these zombie instances seem to happen on a tiny scale. On the forest floor.
Yo, Chad, imagine you got your ass beat, dragged to a corner, and got laid birth inside of, nigga. And then the baby just started eating you out.
Or with snails, insects, or spiders. Is it possible for more complex animals to fall victim to such an insidious killer? For mammals, it's certainly not as common, but not unheard of. In perhaps the most disturbing example of zombie infection in mammals, mice become mind-controlled by a parasite called Toxoplasma gondii, which compels them to walk straight to their own deaths. Toxoplasma gondii is a parasitic protozoan that can infect any warm-blooded animal. But mice have particularly bad luck, because there's just one animal that the parasite can reproduce in: cats. What? Studies have shown that Toxoplasma infection in rodents is able to change their instinctual fear of the odor of cats into an attraction to this odor. The infected mice and rats visit more often and stay longer in places containing the odor of cat urine. This naturally makes them more likely to get eaten by a cat, where the Toxoplasma parasite can complete its life cycle. And unfortunately for us, we too can get infected with this parasite. In fact, 1/3 of the entire population already is.
Hell no, not me,
Infection
pussy.
usually occurs by eating undercooked contaminated meat or exposure from infected cat feces. The parasite then hangs out in various tissues, including the brain, pretty much dormant for long periods of time, sometimes for the rest of your life. For decades, scientists thought that the infection in humans was relatively harmless, besides the risk it poses to unborn babies in pregnant women. But recent studies show that that might not be the case at all, and it might mess with us in very weird ways.
What?
A study in 2002 showed that individuals involved in car accidents were more likely to have such infections hiding in their bodies.
What? Let me tell you, I've never been in a car accident in my life, by the way. Never been in a car accident in my life. Well, with me driving, I never hit a car or nothing.
It's thought that the Toxoplasma parasite slows down reaction times.
Chat, I got a 3. I have a 3 MS.
In rodents, this slow reaction time would help them get eaten by cats. In us, is it just an unfortunate evolutionary carryover or something more? A few years later, a small study found something even more strange. Participants with a toxoplasmosis infection rated the odor of diluted cat urine
I'm on shrooms right now and I'm fucking thinking about too much.
as more pleasant than non-infected participants did. However, weirdly, this was only true for the men in the study. And perhaps even more scarily, this was more pleasant than non-infection rated the odor of diluted cat urine as more pleasant than
parasites can be in the Taco Bell you about to eat, sorry.
Infected participants did. However, weirdly, this was only true for the men in the study. And perhaps even more scary is that the Toxoplasma parasite also seems to be a risk factor in developing schizophrenia. Researchers in Copenhagen found that individuals with the infection were almost 50% more likely to be diagnosed with schizophrenia disorders compared to those without an infection. Scientists are still debating about the mechanism here and about the causation-correlation conundrum. But as the years go on, the evidence only gets stronger for the idea that Toxoplasma is absolutely messing with human psychology and behavior. But is there a bigger reason that this happens? The Toxoplasma parasite mind controls the mouse to be able to reproduce and spread to other mice. Is Toxoplasma gondii doing the same with us? But humans are certainly not the prey of house cats, the parasite's current primary host, as much as the cats may wish that were true. But current is the key word here. Domesticated house cats have only been around for around 9,000 years. It's likely that in the past, a different, bigger cat was the parasite's primary host, and our ancestors may have been a primary snack. Leopards in particular are extremely good at hunting and eating primates, and they always have been. They are stealthy, fast, can leap into trees where primates sleep to snatch them, and can carry heavy loads. Leopard ancestors have been going after human ancestors for millions of years. Even today, leopards are the cause of 70% of baboon deaths, and half of a leopard's diet consists of monkeys or chimpanzees. To see if primates may be affected by the Toxoplasma parasite the same way mice are, researchers tested the reactions of chimps to the smell of leopard urine. And they found that the chimpanzees not infected with Toxoplasma investigated the smell of leopard urine less often, avoiding the smell to the best of their ability. The chimps infected with the Toxoplasma parasite, on the other hand, investigated the leopard urine far more often. Their fear of it seemed to be diminished, causing them to act more recklessly,
so when
just
is
like rodents
YRG
infected
therapy?
with.
So is that why niggas be like, sped? Y'all got no common sense because y'all got that thoropy parasite in y'all brain? Y'all niggas be stupid?
The parasite. So, somewhere in our evolutionary past, it's possible that the parasite evolved to alter our decision-making skills as well, or even attract us to our own feline deaths. Many of these studies were small, and much more research needs to be done to fully understand the impact of Toxoplasma gondii on our brains. But these results so far have—
Yo, why that look like you? That ain't look like me.
Possible that the parasite evolved to alter our decision-making skills as well, or even attract us to our own feline deaths. Many of these studies were small, and much more research needs to be done to fully understand the impact.
It's literally you. It's not literally fucking me, and I ain't dying to no fucking parasite asshole.
Said I'm on 3 pills right now, if I'm being honest. Hope my feelings shoot out like a rocket. Niggas thought they had the swag, but I'm really on it. Look at you just window shopping that new bag I bought.